All right, let's go ahead and talk about hosting a meeting. So if we click the new meeting button here, that's just going to automatically set up a meeting to start. So hi there, I'm definitely not prepared for camera today, but hopefully you can ignore that. So it's going to prompt you to ask if you want to join with your computer audio. The answer to that's almost always going to be yes. It's going to let us know that we're using the computer audio, okay? So we want to look at some of the functions we have here. So we see the option to go to full screen. That's kind of helpful if you can do that, unless you need to be navigating back and forth between other things. Then over here we see a little lock thing. It's going to tell you that you're in an encrypted meeting. That just means that you're secure. There's some protections against hackers or things like that. And then over here, this info button in the corner, that's going to tell you information about this meeting. So if you want people to join in this meeting that you just kicked off, give them this number right here, and it's going to allow them to join. Down here you see it's password protected, so they're going to have to plug in that password as well. You can also just copy and paste this URL link, and so on. Okay, but let's talk about what's important, and that's this stuff down here at the bottom. We have some really neat things. So this is going to be your mute button. This is probably the most used tool on Zoom. It's going to prevent other people from hearing. So when you click the mute button, there's going to be a red slash through this. And if you keep talking like I am now, it's going to tell you, hey, dummy, you're muted. If you want to unmute it, click the unmute button or use the hotkey combo to do that. You'll also see in this bottom left corner, there's a little red microphone with a slash through it. This is what other participants are going to see on your screen. It's going to let them know that your mic is muted. So if your mouth is moving and other participants see this, they usually start yelling at you, hey, you're muted, you're muted. So, and like I pointed out earlier, it's going to tell you on your screen, if it's picking up audio from your mic, that you are muted. So to unmute, you simply just click on that again. Now, there's a little arrow next to this that lets you pull up your audio settings and do a few different things. Test your microphone, change your default speaker, change your default microphone. I've got an external mic that's plugged in right now. And so that's what it's set to as opposed to my default. If you plug in an external mic, usually Zoom is pretty good about auto switching it. Now, if I pull out my external mic, when you pull out the external mic, Zoom will switch it automatically to record with your computer, but the recording program I was using for the video didn't. So this is me explaining what's happening here. When you plug it back in, it will default back to that additional microphone. So now we come to video. If you want to stop video, you can just simply click on this, and it will go to either your name if you don't have a picture set up, or if you've got a picture set up like I do, it'll just display your picture. Your participants can still hear you, but they can't see your bed head. They can't see all your pimples and things like that. To undo it, again, you simply just click on it again, and then it kicks it back on. There's a little arrow next to it again, so we have some different video settings, and we have virtual backgrounds. We'll do a whole nother video on how to set up virtual backgrounds, why they're good, why they're bad, everything in between. Over here we have a security button. This just kind of lets us know what participants are allowed to do and your ability to lock or unlock the meeting. We're not going to get into the security portion too much on this. Manage participants. This is actually helpful when you have other participants, which I don't on this call. We'll talk about participant management here, but you can see you can invite new people to attend. You can mute all of the other participants, or you can unmute all the participants, and then you can also send them into breakout rooms, which we'll talk about in another video. Here's the chat function. This is really important. Be aware that your participants, if you mute them all, they may commit mutiny and go to the chat function and start blowing up the chat function over here. They can send messages to everyone else on the call, or they can select specific people if there are other people on the call. Obviously, there aren't here, and it's a private message. One thing I will warn you is the default every time you go to send a chat is going to be to everyone. So if you started a private message with someone and they respond to you, and then you are typing back, haha, yeah, the host is such a jerk, be careful. Make sure that it's only going to that person you really want it to go to, and not everyone. The other drawback with this function is that the chats will delete at the end of the video. There's no archive of those, at least not that I have found yet. And so it's helpful for in-meeting communications. You can share files, you can send Word documents, PowerPoints, Excel sheets, stuff like that. But know that once the meeting is ended, if your participants haven't already downloaded and saved those to their computer locally, they won't be able to access them from Zoom. But it is a handy function in the video itself. There's the share screen thing. This is going to allow participants to see my desktop navigations or video files or whatever I have up. We'll talk about this in an entirely different video. This is the record function. If you haven't already scheduled your meeting to record and you hear someone start to say something really incriminating, you can click this button and then it will give you the option to record it to the cloud or to record it to the local computer. Breakout rooms, we'll do a whole nother video on those. And then reactions, I can show you that. You can do a hand clap, you can do a thumbs up, or this is also known as like a hand wave. What it does is if I click it, it'll put in the upper corner here that my hand is up. That'll notify the host that I might have something to say or that I'm reacting in a certain way. But those are kind of helpful tools. The host can go and click on those on the other participants and it will remove them to show that they've acknowledged it. So those are kind of some of the basic options you have. We'll talk about virtual backgrounds, participant management, and breakout rooms in a few other videos.